Are you a movie buff? Do you love dissecting and analyzing your favorite films? Look no further than the Projection Booth podcast. Join host Mike White and a bevy of guest experts as they explore the history, themes, and legacy of cult classics, obscure gems, and mainstream hits. Join us every week for a unique and engaging look at your favorite movies. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in to the Projection Booth podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, creeps. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Chronicles from the Crypt.
Hello there, I'm Casualty Chris.
And this is Father Malone.
Boy, I picked a really shitty nickname, didn't I?
Nah, it's pretty good, actually.
And we are the hosts of Chronicles from the Crypt, a twice-a-month look at the horror anthology series Tales from the Crypt that aired on HBO from 1989 to 1996.
Now, in each of these episodes of our podcast, we do 2 episodes of the television series, and in between, along the way, we do lots of bonus episodes, which we just finished, and if you are fans of the show, you listen to one about the theatrical version of Tales from the Crypt, and yeah,
we're here. It's season 5.
Oh my God, we're round the bend.
Yeah, we are in the home stretch here, I guess one might say. It's been a while to get back to where we started doing this again. So we're almost there. It's towards the end of this season, but we're here now to talk about the first 2 episodes of season 5, Death of Some Salesmen and As Ye Sow.
Well, kiddies, I'm afraid our designer hanger offer has expired. Would somebody please get Mr. De La Renta out of here? Next up on the Home Chopping Network, it's time for the Crypt Keeper's Fashion Boutique. Today we're featuring my full line of Après-V death care products. We've got everything from face scream to mascara. Try some. It's the best thing you can do for demise. Or maybe I could interest you in tonight's special. It's a tasteless tidbit about a traveling cemetery plot salesman who's about to make a grave mistake. I call it Death of Some Salesmen.
So Death of Some Salesmen aired October 2nd, 1993. It is directed and written by Gilbert Adler. It stars Tim Curry, Ed Begley Jr., and that's it.
Well, Yvonne DiCarlo is also in it.
For like a second.
For a second, but Yvonne DiCarlo, obviously. Lily Munster makes an appearance in Tales from the Crypt this particular week, this episode.
So what did you think of this episode?
I like it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
It's good, man. Like, fun episode. Not necessarily a comedy episode, but airing on the side of comedy, as I think Gilbert Adler and A.L. Katz, who, by the way, is the other screenwriter or teleplay writer on this particular episode, tended to hew towards. Now, quite often, we always wonder who's running the ship here. At this point, at Season 5, it's these 2 guys, Gilbert Adler and A.L. Katz. You know, what we've got here is Tim Curry playing 3 different roles, a father, mother, and daughter, in a a far-flung, hard-to-reach farm where Ed Begley is a con man who's come to bilk them out of their money. I do want to point out, of course, that as with most episodes of Tales from the Crypt, this is not a Tales from the Crypt adaptation. This is, in fact, a Haunt of Fear number 15, which was written and drawn by the inimitable, the amazing Mr. Jack Davis. The story in the comic is close to what we get on screen. Here in the episode itself, Ed Begley is a con man who shows up at their farm. He has been going around the country bilking people out of their money with promises of a funeral plot, and if they only give him $250, they're not only going to get a funeral plot for themselves, but the insurance company is going to pay them $10,000. In the original comic, a little bit different. It is a actual salesman. He is not a con man in any way. Shows up at a farm and meets these two people, this husband and wife team, who then show to him that they have killed every salesman who's come by their farm because they've given them inferior products, and they've killed them with those products. The stinger being that he is selling a newfangled slicer-dicer machine that he does not know if it's going to work when it demonstrates, and the idea being that he's going to be cut to pieces from these people. What we get in the episode is a little bit different in that the couple are trying to find a salesman to marry off to their young daughter, or not so young. That's where the plot sort of deviates from the thing. So effectively, you get the denouement of the comic about halfway through when Ed Begley realizes that they've killed every salesman who's come to their place. Overall, man, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was good. Like, as I mentioned, it hews in the direction of comedy, but what we've got here are seasoned pros enacting it, with Tim Curry playing 3 different roles and Ed Begley sort of reacting to all of them. And I love both Tim Curry and Ed Begley, so, can't go wrong.
I like it. I just find it has way too many similarities to Nothing But Trouble. Right? I mean, I can't be the only one. And you're laughing because
okay.
you know I'm right.
I kind of do. When did Nothing But Trouble come out?
1991.
Oh, man. So this is in the wake of Nothing But Trouble. Huh.
Gross makeup on the same person.
Yeah.
Antagonizing a kind of yuppie piece of shit. Obviously, this guy's a con man, and Nothing But Trouble. Chevy Chase is a stockbroker?
Yeah, but it's Chevy Chase, so he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah, Chevy Chase in real life, piece of shit.
Yeah.
But it smacks very much of Nothing But Trouble, in like a way I didn't really remember until obviously we watched Nothing But Trouble earlier this year.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
by the way, Nothing But Trouble is garbage.
Is it though? You should have had me on.
Yeah.
That. You should have had me on that episode.
Oh, so
I will defend it.
So you can somehow defend that movie?
Absolutely, man. I'll go toe to toe with you. No, I'm kidding. Nothing But Trouble is terrible. But I've got a soft spot in my heart.
Nothing
for
but Trouble is a interesting failure.
It is. It at least is a vision. There's a singular direction behind the camera in the form of Mr. Dan Aykroyd, who is a weird human being, no question about it. And they let him get away with a lot when they made that movie. I had not realized the parallelism between that film and this particular episode of the series. I got to be honest with you. I remember the episode sort of when it aired. I do believe I watched it at the time, but I have not watched it since. I don't think I liked it as much as I do now at the time. I thought it was just kind of showboaty and predicated on this idea that Tim Curry's playing 3 characters.
It is a little gimmicky.
A little bit, and that's fine. But then at the same time...
Come into the light, daughter. Like, oh, here we go. Here's Tim Curry as another woman, and as like a gross candle melting woman, kind of like in the last Tales from the Crypt episode we talked about, Curiosity Killed.
Yeah, with Margot Kidder. Look, the makeup... I don't know. I think the makeup's actually pretty good in this episode. I think when he is Henrietta, the sort of wife, I think it works really well. It doesn't.
Yeah, the wife is great.
Oh my God, right? Like if I were to watch, but yeah, the father's not so much. Although it doesn't. It's kind of interesting because the father doesn't bear any resemblance to Tim Curry at all.
In any form or fashion.
No, it's actually a little bit startling. The makeup is not great. Like, it's somebody slathered in makeup, but I could not, if you just showed me a photograph of the guy, say, this is Tim Curry. So it's kind of a win, kind of a loss. The problem is the daughter character, which is clearly just Tim Curry in makeup. Like, of all three characters, I think that's the one I would just go, oh, well, it's just, isn't that Tim Curry? Yeah, it must be Tim Curry.
The female, like, the daughter character's makeup is atrocious. It really is.
Yeah, it's not great. And they're going for like the sort of obese and unattractive character, and with
the nothing but trouble Dan Aykroyd nose.
Yeah, not spectacular. And you know what? God bless the team of makeup artists here on Tales from the Crypt at the time. I mean, they had to do 3 total conversions of a human being into another character. So they get 2 out of 3, not bad. You know what I mean? Like, particularly the wife, which is pretty spectacular. And the next episode, I kind of noticed in between that both episodes, the director of photography is a guy named John Leonetti. I think in this case, and this just might be a function of filming an episode with 3 characters played by the same actor, which must have taken a lot of time. So it tends to be lit in a way that they can sort of turn over very quickly. But I think, with proper lighting, each of these characters could have looked really spectacular. Unfortunately, we get kind of the typical sitcom lighting, so all the flaws become much more evident, if that makes sense.
Oh, I agree. I mean, the way that it's lit, when it comes to practical effects, the way that it's lit probably matters more than anything else.
Yeah, particularly with a sort of special effects makeup driven episode, like you have to go the extra mile to showcase the makeup. And a lot of filmmakers and television directors just don't kind of understand that. They kind of go with it, and you have to spend a little more time when you're slathering somebody in makeup to make it look. It may be a matter of shadows and highlights in order to get it to look realistic. And I don't know how many weeks or days they were given to shoot these episodes, probably about a 2-week period. And in this case, it does a disservice because ultimately you have Tim Curry, who is acting his goddamn heart out, even in a half-hour episode of some horror anthology series, and he's giving life to each of these 3 characters in very distinct ways. So, take an extra half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and light it correctly so we, as an audience, visually can accept that this is a different character. I will say, look, in the age of CGI and like how easy it is to not even like create a CG character necessarily, but you shoot somebody on a green screen and can sort of just drop them into a shot. Like, this would be very easy to do right now. Back when this was shot, right, clearly they're filming and then winding the camera back in certain shots and filming again in order to get that performance, which might kind of ameliorate my criticism of the lighting scheme because of that sort of technical problem. If it was a feature film, they probably would have given a little more time and a little bit more budget to that. Watching it now, it's, the makeup ends up suffering because of it, unfortunately.
Well, and the other thing I think that really would have fixed these episodes, because I notice on a lot of our podcast episodes, we talk about how you can fix it if it's broken. And the way that, in my mind, you fix this episode is either have one female character or the other, but not both.
Yeah, and that kind of throws it back to the comic.
2 is too many. Yeah, exactly. 2 is too many. And I feel like the female daughter character is unnecessary. And again, right back to Nothing But Trouble. That character in that movie is married off to the main character, played by Chevy Chase. Just like in this episode, the same thing happened.
Yeah, I mean, the daughter character is an invention of A.L. Katz and Gilbert Adler in this case. And I don't necessarily think that they, they could have jettisoned the wife character and concentrated more on the daughter. This is just a guy on a farm living with his daughter, and he wants to marry her off. And that could have been good. Like, I'm not sure why we needed all three characters to be played by Tim Curry, other than it's, an interesting technical challenge.
1 is good, 2 is better, 3 is a mad flex, except when it's not.
Yeah, like, you've got 26 minutes or so to tell us this story, and at some point the ball got dropped a little bit there. But, man, Tim Curry, man, he's really good. He's really good. I did notice.
But is Tim Curry not ever good? That's the ultimate problem with this episode. Is I think for the most part you could have put a dog shit sandwich on screen, and Tim Curry and Ed Begley Jr. still would have elevated it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I love those two guys a lot. I did notice this is kind of an interesting just phenomena, I suppose. Ed Begley is a enormously tall individual, right? He's 6'4". So you've got him on screen with these three characters effectively all pitched at Tim Curry's height, and Tim Curry looks really tiny. And so I actually went and looked up the heights of these people because I know Ed Begley's 6'4". I don't know why I'm specifically fixated on Ed Begley, but turns out Tim Curry is 5'9", right? Which I would never in my life have guessed, because I think for you and me and most people, we think of Tim Curry as Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror. He is so huge in that part. Like, he just dominates every single frame that I thought he was an enormous human being. I guess I'm just praising Tim Curry here because it speaks to the level of control he exerts when he walks on screen, that you think he's the biggest person in the room. Because a 5'9", I'd be looking down on him if I met him in person. And yet, he's kind of diminutive. It was a bit shocking watching him on screen, interacting with Ed Begley in this situation. But, as you said, like, I think I think the episode's pretty good overall. I don't think it does anyone a disservice. I do think, however, like, if we had put Tim Curry into any of the episodes that we have outright said skip previously, I don't know that I would have been so quick to make that assumption or make that decision, because he is an enormous talent. Just everything he's in, he's really great.
Yeah, no, Tim Curry's the best part of this episode. Ed Begley's a close second. It's pretty predictable. You know where the episode is going from, like, probably the 10-minute point.
Yeah.
And considering how these are 23 minutes long, that's pretty much halfway through the episode. But Ed Begley Jr. is going to get it. You know that Tim Curry's characters are all in on it. It's a good episode, don't get me wrong. But it's as much as I like it, it's not the most creative episode either.
No,
it's good.
Yeah,
but it doesn't break the mold either.
It doesn't. But I gotta say, and we've said this a lot.
I don't need it to break the mold.
No, it doesn't. Comparatively, if we're judging it that way, it is like leaps and bounds above what we've been getting recently, particularly all throughout season 4. And we often wonder, like, this is your first episode when it comes to particular seasons, like, this is what you're going to go with. I think this is actually pretty strong.
This is a good opening episode.
Yeah, it really is. It's as Tales from the Crypt as you can get. It doesn't ever feel insulting or just phoned in. Whatever failings I've perceived while watching it, they don't detract overall. And not even comparatively, when you think about it, it's a solid episode of Tales from the Crypt. So I dig it. I'm gonna say go ahead and watch this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this episode is a fun episode that deserves all the praise that it gets. Outside of the fact that it's not the most creative, so what, really?
Truly.
It's still a good episode. And sometimes you don't need it to break the mold entirely. It just needs to be a good, solid episode.
Yeah, and
that's what it is.
Yeah, at the worst, these episodes should be enjoyable and a good watch. And I don't think any time while I was watching it, I was just like, oh, come on. That's the hallmark of a good episode. Like, as long as it doesn't pull you out and make you think that this is going somewhere that it's not. Technical sort of snafus along the way. Like, there's some problems with the makeup in the episode. There are some problems with the lighting as far as I'm concerned. But when you look at it, that's small potatoes. Like, I enjoyed it a lot.
And I enjoyed it too. I think it's a good episode. However, let's talk about the next episode. As Ye Sow.
You've got to help me, Dr. Viscus. It's our son's eating habits.
You said you were cannibals, right?
Yes, that's why this vegetarianism thing scares me.
No need to worry. For one thing, vegetarians are probably much better for him. I like to stalk one myself from time to time. My advice is to let him fiend himself. The little nipper will never learn to maggot on his own if you're too busy protecting him. Our next caller, Leo, thinks his wife is cheating on him. Let's hope for her sake he doesn't catch her in the act. I call this sickening psychodrama As Ye Sow.
So, this episode is directed by everyone's favorite FBI agent, one Kyle Dale Cooper McLaughlin. It is written by Ron Finley, and it stars Hector Elizondo. Adam West is there, Sam Waterston is there, and Hector Elizondo plays a suspicious husband who thinks his wife is cheating on him because she's younger than him. So, as we like to say in the Tales from the Crypt industry, it's a love triangle, folks.
Love triangle.
Yeah. Well, it's a thing, isn't it? You can watch it. It's not the worst love triangle episode I've seen.
Here's my opinion of this particular episode in a nutshell. I actually liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you.
Right?
I mean, I think the thing that I like about this episode is the fact that it's stupid. Like, and all the characters are really stereotypes. Like, all the characters are stereotypes. They're all played really big. And because the characters are played really big, that translates into the episode actually being interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
Like, Sam Waterston's character alone is really good.
Really
And
good.
then-
Well, that's, I think, I think this is an example of Tales from the Crypt episode where the material is okay, but if you put a bunch of heavy hitters in front of the camera, they're going to deliver. Like, if you can put the most puerile dialogue in somebody's mouth, and if it's someone of the quality of Hector Elizondo or John Shea or even Adam West here, they're going to deliver, man. Like, these are pros. You and I have a long history of hating the love triangle episodes on Tales from the Crypt.
I mean, it has become a running joke.
Yeah, I mean, we're not fans. In this case, it all kind of hangs together. Before we go further, I do want to point out, as most episodes of Tales from the Crypt, except in our next episode, which I think both episodes are based on Tales from the Crypt, the comic, this one, because I think 99% of the Love Triangle episodes are not from Tales from the Crypt comic. They're actually from Shock Suspense Stories. This is no exception. Shock Suspense Stories, number 14. In this case, written and drawn by a fellow named George Evans, who is actually a pretty good artist. It's very similar in tone to what the comic presented. The comic is a man who suspects his wife. We get a little bit more backstory in the comic than we're given on screen here, where they show them the husband and wife meeting and her falling in love with him, and them settling into a relationship where she becomes bored very quickly as a housewife in the 1950s, and she takes up with another fella. He begins to suspect that, she's duping him and seeing another man, and he follows her a lot, and he finds out that she is, in fact, though he can't ever seem to prove that she's actually having sex with this guy, although he's convinced. In the comic, he ends up going to a bar where a random stranger says, "You know what? You ought to just kill him. And I know a guy who can do that for you." And he pays this guy to murder the man that the wife is seeing. He actually confronts the wife, says, "I know what's going on." And she's just unrepentant. She's like, "Yes, I am. And why wouldn't I? He's everything you're not. And I'm running away with him. I'm going to be at this particular train platform at a certain time. And if you want to see me off, feel free to do so because I'm leaving you." He's already hired the hitman. She ends up having a change of heart, comes back to him, and says, "I'm sorry, I lost my mind for a minute, but I love you and I want to stay with you," at which point the hitman shows up and kills him. Okay, so we've got a little bit of differentiation as far as what this story is, which is him hiring the husband, I should point out, played by Hector Elizondo, hiring a private eye or a couple of different private eyes, because he suspects his wife is having an affair. In the episode, at least, it turns out that she is not. That seems to be more of a twist than anything, because this is a love triangle episode, but it turns out to be not a love triangle at all. Like, she is devoted to him. She's just...
Doesn't it remind you of that one episode that we watched with the baby?
Which episode?
And the pregnant lady? And the party?
Oh, well, that Three's a Crowd, right?
Doesn't it kind of remind you of that?
It reminds me of that in a way that I think that is the 100% perfect way you do a love triangle episode, in a way that is shocking and frightening and disturbing all at once. It doesn't achieve that episode's level of lunacy. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, so I guess, the best sort of love triangle episodes are where it is a perceived love triangle and it's not actually. Like, the husband's jealousy has gotten to him, but doesn't pan out. I like this episode a lot, honestly. And as I said, a lot of it has to do with the actors on screen, particularly Hector Elizondo. He has, he passed away, did he not? I'm pretty sure he's gone now. Is Hector
Elizondo no longer with us?
I feel like he is.
Hector Elizondo definitely still with us.
Oh, well, good for him.
But I'll tell you what. I mean, any project of his that's coming out soon.
Yeah, I mean,
we won't be seeing Hector Elizondo. Hector Elizondo, I think, was on a TV show as recently as last year.
Good for him. I'm glad he's out there kicking still, because in the past 20 or 25 years, he's been relegated to mostly like romantic comedies as a sideline character. It's easy to forget.
Right.
Easy to forget what a good dramatic actor he is. My first experience with Hector Elizondo, well, that's not true. I'm sure I've seen him in sort of any 80s comedies or 90s comedies. The one that makes the most impact for me is he was in a movie called The Taking of Pelham 123 back in the early 70s, where he plays a character who is a mercenary hired to take over a subway train, and of the four guys who are taking it over, he's the psychotic character in it, and he's fucking scary in that episode. And I tend to forget about that episode, or rather that film and that performance, because he's just become so mired in romantic comedies ever since. But when he turns it on, man, he's as good as anything. And I think he's really good here. Like, I'm not necessarily on this character's side, but at the same time, like, he's totally committed to the part and kind of scary.
I have really only seen him in The Princess Diaries.
Right, well, there you go. Like, sort of light comedy.
And this episode.
And he does comedy really well, but at the same time, like, when he turns it on, it's pretty spectacular.
Well, same with Sam Waterston. I mean, Sam Waterston, I don't think people know him from pretty much anything other than Law and Order.
Right, which is...
But he's great in this episode, too.
Yeah, man. Sam Waterston's great. When I think of Sam Waterston, there was I think like a PBS adaptation of The Glass Menagerie with Karen Allen, and he's so good in it. We do think of him for Law and Order, and that's fine, because he's really good on that, too. But he is he's a muscular actor playing this kind of scumbag private eye character. Like, he really nails it, man. Like, there are easy. It would be very easy for that character to have been overplayed or underplayed, and he sort of nails the tone of it.
A total caricature.
Yeah, like, it's not the best written character. It really seems to be a cipher for every sort of crooked private eye we've ever seen on cinema. But he pulls it off, man. Like, he does a scene where he's eating Chinese food while he's, like, describing the fact that he knows that this guy's wife is cheating on him. And it seems so actorly in setup, where you're given this slob kind of character, but it doesn't seem fake at all. And I gotta say, man, if I want to lay the laurels at anyone's feet for this particular episode and why it works as well as it does, it's Mr. Kyle MacLachlan. I'm staggered by the direction of this episode. It's really, really good.
Which is funny considering, how bad his episode that he was actually on the show was.
But you know what? Like, if that episode led to
it's like he redeemed it.
Yeah, that's...
well, I'm saying, like, he redeemed it by directing this episode. It's unfortunate because the episode that he was on was just kind of It was kind of a non-issue.
It was okay. He's really good in it. And he was sort of playing against type, which was a nice thing. But as far as playing against type goes, like, what he does here as a director, like, it makes me a little bit sad that he didn't marshal those creative forces in that direction. I think he's a really good director. You know, everything I was complaining about in the last episode, as far as, like, lighting goes and stuff, this is the same director of photography, John Leonetti. And, like, I never felt this was set-bound at any point. Like, it all very cinematically shot. I think the actors he assembled, and who knows how much influence he had sort of as a director, but as far as, like, you know, nailing down the performance on set. But, you know, sometimes all it takes is a guy knowing these actors are going to do the job and hiring them and putting them in those parts. And I think he did a spectacular job here. You know, I'd like to point out also John Shea, who plays Father Sajak, the perceived third angle of the triangle in this episode. Like, he's saddled with nothing but double entendres for his one scene with... Perceived double entendres. Yeah, man. They're like... Well, yeah, that's the thing. That is why it's so good, because... Like, on the page and in lesser hands, they would have been obvious "I'm fucking your wife" kind of moments. Very ham-handed. John Shea just makes it seem like this is a guy who is a forward-thinking priest, and he's just talking about his love of his profession and his congregation, and it could go either way. There's an ambiguity to how he presents what he's presenting that is really amazing. Not to mention, you know, look, the sort of religious angle, by the way, is completely absent from the original comic. The fact that they've made this a priest and that she's having an affair with him potentially, and then what we get is Hector Elizondo's twisted fantasy about, like, her having sex with him in a confessional. Like, it's so crazily sacrilegious back in the early 90s. I don't know. I kind of marvel at the episode as far as where they were willing to take it. You know, there's a shot where Hector Elizondo is outside the confessional where he perceives his wife is in there having an affair with him when she's not at all. There's some shots of him standing with, like, a Virgin Mary statue, which are just beautiful. I don't know, man. Kyle MacLachlan, he did a spectacular job directing this. They should have hired him more to do more episodes, because it walks a line between sort of sacrilegious and horror, and I would be curious to see what he would have done with a straight horror episode where we have somebody shambling out of the grave, you know what I mean? I like this episode a tremendous amount. It's a lot better. It's a lot better than I thought. And it's a lot better than I remember as well, which is the other thing that I think is important. Because, you know, we've kind of gone on the record now several times being like, oh, I thought this was one of the better episodes, and then we come back to it and it's like, oh god, or like what happened with Demon Knight. I don't remember liking this episode the first time I watched it, but sitting here now, I really liked it a lot. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Like, I remember thinking, like, oh, it's just another episode of Tales from the Crypt, and now sort of reevaluating it and watching these performances and watching the way it's shot. And that might be, as I said, in comparison to other episodes, which we tend to do, but it's very skillful. If you're going to give us a fucking love triangle, give us this. This is solid. From the direction on down, every sort of element kind of comes to the fore, even down to the twist, as telegraphed as it might be, still works, man. Well, and the other thing is, this episode has, like, especially for me, and I don't know about for you, like, it has a really shitty ending. Like, you know, the ending is a gut punch, and you know it's coming, because he has to get punished for what happens and the decisions that he made, but it doesn't change that it is kind of a real bummer of an ending. It is, because, you know what, this character's kind of been a prick the entire time, but we get this sense of how wrong he is and how redemptive the ending is, but you know what? He set this thing in motion, and now it's going to come back, and it's going to bite him. It's an improvement in almost every way over the comic, which is very straightforward. And she is cheating on him, and she doesn't give a shit about him. And even though at the end she kind of turns around and says, like, you know, I'm sorry, I want to be with you. He wanted to fucking murder her and her boyfriend. It's not as impactful as this, where we have a character who is consumed with not necessarily greed, but, like, you know, jealousy and the sort of reaping what you sow. So overall, 100% I'm going to say watch this episode. This is a rare podcast in which I'm going to advise everyone to watch both episodes. These both are pretty fucking good examples of Tales from the Crypt. I'm very, very excited for Season 5 overall. I'm excited too, but I am going to temper my excitement
because I know that if I get too excited, we're going to have a season 4 all over again. So
Season 4, at least, let us know from the get-go. Don't pitch your expectations too high.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and, I would suggest both episodes are worth watching. Your mileage is going to vary more on the second one than the first one, but I think they're both, perfectly fine episodes, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, on the next episode of Chronicles from the Crypt, we're going to be talking about Season 5, Episode 3 and 4, Forever Ambergris and Food for Thought. And on the Food for Thought episode, we're going to have an interview with the main actor from the episode, Ernie Hudson.
Yeehaw.
Where he talks a little bit about his role in the episode. Forever Ambergris is a pretty gnarly episode.
Yeah, it is.
I'm looking forward to talking about both of them with you. However, until then, where can people find you, Father Malone?
Go check me out on my YouTube channel, Ot5Films, OUGHTFIVEFILMS. You can watch my show You've Never Seen about movies that need a little more love than they've received, or maybe you've liked them and seen them in the past, and feel free to enjoy my dissertation on them. You can also hear me over on Dreams for Sale, the Twilight Zone 85 podcast, the only decent reboot of the original Twilight Zone from back in 85. And on occasion, you can hear me over on the Culture Cast with you, Chris, where I guest host a bit.
Well, and the other thing that I want to point out to you about your podcast, not your podcast, but your YouTube channel, is I have seen most of those films.
I'm so excited that you have.
As for myself, you can find me on the Culture Cast, where we talk about movies. You can find me on The Life and Times of Barney Miller, where we talk about Barney Miller. And, no, you already said Dreams for Sale.
I did, but we're both on Dreams for Sale, so you might as well plug that as well.
That's true. Yeah, Dreams for Sale, Twilight Zone 1985 podcast, and the One Season Show, where we talk about TV shows that only lasted one season. Big thanks, as always, to John Kassir for the intro to the Chronicles from the Crypt podcast. Chronicles FTC on Twitter, chroniclesftc.com. We also have an Instagram where we post little snippets of our episode ahead of time. And, make sure to check out the next episode.